Hello everyone and welcome to All the Oscars. After this movie, we only have two more to go for 2016 movies, but that is besides the point. I just watched Fences, which was a movie directed and starring Denzel Washington, and he plays a man who is a by day garbage truck guy, and by night comes home to his family. And this whole movie takes place in this guy's house. We see his kids grow up. We see how his relationship is doing with his wife, and etc. And this movie is based upon a play. And if you didn't get an idea off of that, most of this movie is dialogue. This is pretty much a cheap, like, $20 million movie, completely surrounding these characters, just living in their house, coming home from work, just the most important snippet conversations from this family is pulled together for a movie. And it's a very heart-to-heart movie. It has a lot to say without going too one-sided. I thought how they handled it was great. And what I mean by that is Denzel Washington's character in this movie, he's kind of a man's man. He brings food home and puts it on the table for his kids and expects them to appreciate the fucking food. And he's kind of a dick, but you can see he has a good heart, and at the end of the day, you see he's a good dude. But then shortly after that, we see his goodness falter. We see him fuck up. He fucks up. And he comes to conclusions. His family come to their own conclusions. And it's a big, beautiful movie. I, however, kind of felt myself tuning out some of the time. This isn't something I can't get into. I've gotten into plenty of movies that are just 90% dialogue. But this one, maybe it takes place in the 1950s in Pittsburgh, and it all takes place in the same location. And sure, these characters are interesting. Everything they're saying is golden. The acting is golden. It feels raw. It feels real. But at the same time, it's not super interesting. It's not something I particularly care about. And going back to the acting, Denzel, fucking God, there's some scenes in this where I was just like, this isn't a guy acting. This is obviously just a real person who doesn't even know he's being filmed. And all the performances are great, by the way. The one exception being his brother, who I thought his performance was a little bit hokey. But the wife, I think the actress's name is Viola. I could be wrong about that. Ruby in the movie. She, great. I believe she got the supporting actress award for that, which is weird because I thought whoever the most recognizable woman got the main lead. I don't know how that works. She's on the fucking cover, standing right next to Denzel. Maybe she should get a fucking main supporting role. She did better than Emma Stone. But that's besides the point. I'll get into all of that when I do my episode on the actual Oscars themselves, which I still plan on doing. But this movie, the acting again is top notch, and I think that's a good part to. Now's the time for spoilers. So Denzel in this movie, I really like the relationship he has with his friend, where he's kind of just a family friend, and one of the most painful scenes was seeing him not be best friends with this guy anymore. And his friend, he told him he's obviously day one, because even though he loves Denzel and his wife, when he saw Denzel cheating on her, he was kind of just please don't do this. And the relationship Denzel had with each of his kids, the daughter obviously we didn't get to see that much interaction with, but it was just so much real life being thrown at the camera and so much, and I'm very much against raising children via being a dick to them and hitting them and all that stuff. I'm very against all of that. But we see that like here, it's a different time. It's all about fucking respect, and these kids are gonna be raised right, goddammit, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's no scenes of them like hitting the children or anything, but they do like speak in a tone that suggests that, but that's besides the point. But the first kid who, is already out of the house, he's borrowing money, he's obviously, like, not on the right track. You can see even, like, the way, like, he says music is his life and all that. And, like, as a person who, like, feels similarly about different, just art in general, I was like, okay, I get that. And then you, like, see some, some holes in his character that maybe his dad also possesses. And then you realize, okay, he's in jail. Like, that's just another, like, thing. Like, this movie doesn't follow, like, natural storytelling. Like, he shouldn't be in jail, like, by normal storytelling standards. The school athlete shouldn't become a Marine. He should be an athlete so he can tell his dad, like, hey, I beat you. But no, he joined the Marines, which was, just as, like... I thought if he was going to get, like, this football scholarship and come home in a jersey and be like, fuck you, Dad, like, I thought that would have been a little bit, corny. Like, not as realistic as him just becoming a Marine and coming home that way. And then he didn't want to go to his father's funeral, which was, goddamn, like, I, like, respected his reasoning. I like kind of felt where he was coming from. There's so much real, raw, like just family emotions going on here. And I like when movies, I feel like, oh, I know what you do for a living. I like understand like you as a person. Like I understand your money situation. I understand like what you do from day to day. That's how you understand people. That's how you understand characters. And then he dies. And it's very, a lot of the shit that happens in this movie is off screen. They just talk about it. He's like, yep, I got some girl pregnant. Sorry, off screen. Yep, I'm dead now, off screen. Even though, like, we saw him die. It was just, what is the word? It was foreshadowed, with him hitting the ball and everything. That was his send-off. And, it was very much like in parenting where, like, I want my kid, if I ever have one, to, like, be like me, but be the best parts of me. Don't be the shitty parts of me that I don't like. And that was very much like with his mom saying to her son, she was like, oh, you remind me of him. He's like, I'm nothing like him. And it's like, hey... Everybody has good qualities. This guy had good qualities. People are not one-dimensional. Sure, you could label him as some cheating asshole, some fucking drunk, loudmouth, motherfucker who doesn't even have his driver's license despite that's his fucking job to drive around. But that's besides the point. You could just say he's that. But at the same time, like, you see some of the scenes, and when Ruby talks about Denzel, she's like, oh, he filled the room, that's why I liked him. Like, and you saw what she was talking about. He would just never stop talking. He would say everything, and he would put it all out on the table, and he would be wrong about things and would not give a fuck. It was great. I really appreciated all of that. I think the scenes where it's just them, they're drinking, they're having a good time, I think that was an easy way to care about this guy. And then when he takes a downward spiral in his midlife or late life crisis, it's all the more dramatic. That being said, though, I can't see myself like loving this movie. Like Moonlight, I loved Moonlight. Everything that this movie like I think could have gone like the extra mile, Moonlight did. This movie was a little bit too long, whereas a movie like Moonlight I thought was, about the right length for the story they were telling. And I don't mean to just compare it to that, but that's like a good example of like a 8 out of 10. And this movie is like one slot below that, where I'm just kind of like, yeah, I watched it, I got emotionally invested, it was a good time, I'm going to remember it fondly, on to the next movie. And not to say I wouldn't ever rewatch this movie. I would love to show this movie to like people who I think this story is more meant for. And I don't just mean fucking like black people or people who are poor, or people who have like struggling family issues, but people like people who need maybe a lesson in parenting just to see more perspectives. It's a movie about family. It's a movie about the food that's on the table and what that means. And at the same time, it kind of takes the son's side. Like, even though, like, Denzel in this movie, he's like, I'm gonna put the food on the table. His son is like, yeah, but I'm fucking afraid of you. I hate you. Like, that's not the consolation. Like, you think you're raising me well, but at what cost? Like, I fucking hate you. Like, and you said you don't like me. Like, and notice how I didn't think he had another third strike. And Denzel talked about when he became like a man is when he was 14 and left on his own. And yet his son, he fucking left, and he wasn't afraid of his father. Or Denzel said when he wasn't afraid of his dad anymore is like the day he became a man. And sure enough, maybe that's what happened to his son. That was a lot. I don't think there's any other points in the movie that I can think of right now. So that's gonna be it for me for this movie. We still have Lion and Hidden Fences left, and then we're gonna move down to the other 2015 movies, and then the movies that came out this year will soon be nominated, and we'll see what those are. But with all that being said, thank you so much for watching, as always. I hope you enjoyed another edition of All the Oscars, and with that, I leave you.